I slept in this face. I like literally, and like not even like a cute, like just like took a nappy. Like I was like deep sleep. Like I was dreaming, mama. I think it looks better off the shoulders, honestly. I don't know. I am ready. I am ready for the show. There was no way I was gonna like either put a new face on or it was just not happening, mama. They better show Stellar Blade. What do we want, Stellar Blade? When do we want it? Now. But we made it. I have to get in drag tomorrow, like for like the last time before I move, but whatever. We survived. I like this music. Can I put this on Spotify? I like the beat. What am I expecting? I honestly have no idea, like at all. Considering it's indie titles, I really have no idea. It could be anything, but everybody's expecting a lot. If y'all have been longtime followers of the channel and you sit here for the state of plays with me, you know goddamn well the state of plays are never good. I don't even know why we still watch them. Like, honestly, sometimes they're a waste of time. Let's hope this is the best state of play we've ever seen. Cause mama, they never do it. If we don't see Stellar Blade, I fear for her getting canceled. That game looks so good. It looks so Bayonetta coded. I'm like, I want it. Like, give her to us. Like, where is she? Where has she been? Why has she been on hiatus? Are you gonna play Lies of P? Yeah. The release date is weird because it comes out on Mortal Kombat's like actual release day, but I guess it kind of works out because we already played the story, so now I have time to do anything that I want. But I do have to move. I will have a fleshed out more schedule when I move. Just right now, I'm like, I need to get all my stuff in one spot. Like, everybody's texting me to do this and this and that. I'm like, oh my god, I just need to just let me move in my peace. And then, like, I'm real. It seems like I'm not stressed about it, but I'm so stressed about it. Like, I'm just exhausted thinking about it. I hope so. My cousin supposedly isn't coming, so that's like a huge loss because now we're gonna have to carry a lot of furniture. No idea what that is. Project Red. Like the League of Legends stuff? Will they though? Everybody keeps saying that. Guys, it's third party and indie studios. I don't think they're gonna show Spider-Man. Is that a sauce? Like, literally. Oh. Yeah, it's only indie studios and third party. So, and I fear this might be a 20-minute direct, I feel like this is gonna be one of those 20-minute shows that, like, we're gonna be like, okay, this is getting good, and they're like, oh, it's over. I don't know why I have anxiety. I mean, I know I have why I have anxiety, but also, like, it's not because of this. I just want this show to... One minute till showtime. It's showtime, folks. Wait, they might actually show the Tomb Raider. Wait. Crystal Dynamics, please come through. I'll gag so fierce. Wait, they need to show the actual new Tomb Raider game, not the remaster thing we saw earlier today. We need the... Not Among Us. Oh my god, what if it's a repeat of what we saw earlier? Oh mama, it's fully gonna be. Oh god, fuck. Oh my god. Jesus Christ. Thank you. It's so bad. All right, let's give this a good show. Come on, we want a good show. Come on. Good morning, house music. When it's just this for the entire show, just the logo. That's a nice logo. Hello, are you guys okay? Oh. Is this thing on? Hello? Three more minutes. What? It's 5 o'clock. It's not. It's not. Hello? Knocks on the window. Hello? Oh. What the? Oh. What was that show earlier? What was that other show that got delayed that we were like, come on? I think it was the Future Game Show at... Yeah, it got delayed. I was like, oh. We need to... If you are... Being late is not a personality trait. Especially if you are a big brand company. Oh, let's get it together. Miss Things. You guys said 5 o'clock. It says 5 o'clock right there. It's 5:02. And you're doing a countdown? You better skip it forward a couple minutes. I don't understand either. Like, get it together. Like, actually. Am I wrong for saying that? Like, literally be on time. Wake up! Hi Lee, hi Crimson, hi Cannon, hi Sapphire, hi Curtis. Anyways. Rotted. What's your favorite color? You guys want to play 20 questions? What's your favorite color? How big is your dick? Hi, Jonathan. Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming. I could have just played the Pokemon DLC. Oh, that's not. Oh, that's not. We're gonna edit that out. Oh, y'all are really speedrunning the Pokedex. I want to get the Pokedex, but I'm just like, I don't want to look around for it. Like, someone just needs to... I just sneezed my face off. Let me make sure my nose is okay. You know what I want to see? I want to see, this is so obscure. I want to see Castlevania Judgment 2. Never gonna happen in a million years, but that would be so fierce. Thanks, yikes. So, like, what are we expecting? Guys, it's third party and indie studios, so do not expect anything big. I really am. I want Stellar Blade and Castlevania. And not a 2D Castlevania. That shit is so annoying. Me too, honestly. Is Capcom an indie third-party studio? Can we get the Separate Ways DLC? Good morning, Diamond. Oh, y'all are reaching for the sky. We're like, oh yeah, big names, and then what we're gonna get is like... We're gonna get like Cookie Clicker, too. Like... We are really reaching for it. Third-party studio, and it's a... I want Stellar Blade to open the show. I'm dead ass. You better be so serious to me right now. I want to see Mother Stellar. Well, you're 5 minutes late, but glad you're here. I guess. If this is that Alan Wake game, I swear on my life. Not this. This was in the last State of Play. Mama, it's a chop. We're reusing. Boring, sloppy, lazy.
Okay, no problem. Alright. Okay. Well. Yeah, that might be a problem. Okay.
Raise your hand if you're buying this.
Okay.
Clap if you care.
Okay. Oh, that sucks. Ugh. All right. Oh yeah, post.
Yeah, they like really think they're like doing the funniest thing right now.
Yeah. Okay, tree. And up.
No, this is the opening game. I don't know who... What is this development studio that had the budget for this?
Oh, hey, Mike. No, that's Ed. I was just taking a break from my run. So road's out.
Why do
Yeah,
I
road's
see?
out, but no
Oh,
worries. Grapple points.
Oh, grapple point. Oh, just grapple. I'll grapple it.
Yeah, just grapple it with a grappling hook.
Oh, yeah, I'll just grapple that fucker with my grappling hook.
Yeah, no worries. Just grapple that.
hey, watch your
Grapple
mouth.
that fucker.
Hey,
Alright.
he's gonna get me demonetized. You better keep it cute.
Oh, it's a lot of... yeah, all right. I'll just pull out my grappling hook. Well, I don't know where.
I hope you fall and.
Oh,
Nope.
oh, this is bad. Okay, all right. Okay, there's enough here. Oh, God, oh, crap.
Okay, next game. We go next. Keep go. Nope, nope. We don't need to see more. We can go. We go next. Fuck you, Bennett, Gabe, and Maxie. Fuck you all. Your game looks.
Hi, I'm Sean Benson.
Oh.
Here at PlayStation, our team is always on the lookout for creative, inspiring, and original games to bring to PlayStation players around the world. We are constantly canvassing game development studios as we search for the next exciting idea. And as you just saw,
That's a lot of
Baby Steps
forehead.
is a great example of
Sorry.
the innovative spirit that we're looking for. In today's State of Play, we've got a wide variety of games to share with you. My hope is that these demonstrate the diversity of experiences coming to PlayStation consoles and PSVR 2. On that note, I'm very excited to welcome PlayStation players to Roblox. This infinite
Yes!
to PS4.
Yes! We won! Roblox!
So you can join 66 million daily active users across PC, mobile, and other platforms.
Outsold that first game. Outsold the Nintendo Direct, I must say. Wait, what was that game one with the dragon? Can we play that?
Let's dive in. Starting with a look at two great games coming to PlayStation VR 2.
Can we play that? I want to play with the dragon on Roblox. Hold on. Oh, that's not. Oh, that's. Oh.
New here, but we have a job to get done. This city isn't going to save itself. So get geared up and join the team, because working
Oh,
together
that's. Oh.
will give you the best chance.
Not too much on the Nintendo Direct.
Latest ghost-busting gadgets,
So sorry.
you can earn them. We're talking turrets, shields, decoys, and so much more.
Throw your trap. Wow. Light 'em up.
I'm picking up something.
Whoa. Watch out.
You'll need to be ready for anything
Here he comes.
before you'll be ready to take on the Ghost Lord.
The 13 people that bought a PSVR will be very happy about this.
Oh yeah, and these guys, mini puffs, they can be a real pain in the...
Not the cummy guys. Oh, I know, it was okay. I mean, I can say what I want. Like, it's my show. Like, we all have opinions, but, you know, I was just playing. It was an alright direct. It's usually better.
No fucking way.
Oh, so Capcom is here. So you better show Separate Ways DLC. Not Apple VR. No, we need separate. I would shit myself if I played Resident Evil 4 Remake at that part where you go to the basement. That part's scary.
Think you can swallow me whole, huh?
Oh, I wish I could, Leon. Sorry, who said that? Are we done with the VR section? Oh my god.
This is Condor 1.
It's happening.
His daughter.
It's happening. I called it. I was playing. Yes! Yes! Ada Wong is saving us. It's happening.
What terrible actions will be done in its name?
Oh, thank you, Jesus. I love you, Jesus. I love you. Hi, Slay Mama.
Have you changed?
Well, we already got one girl boss. We better fill it up with Stellar Blade next.
In this world, someone always pays.
Someone
Who needs my help?
I'm gagged. Finally, they
To ask who or why.
not the third party and indie studios, and they're like, yeah, Capcom's in it.
It's what I researched for all these years, Ada. And I see the symptoms already showing in your eyes.
Oh shit! That's like next week, mama. Not the hop drop. Whoa. Oh shit. Wait, it's free? It's not even DLC, it's content? Whoa.
I am not the.
Now, you are what I made you!
That was good. I'm really happy we're finally getting separate ways. Hi, Harley.
For 15 years, they kept me from my world and my people.
How much you think this game's gonna be? I'm gonna say 80 bucks. And you know who's not gonna pay 80 bucks? This girl. This
The
girl.
poor child knows nothing of our ways. Let Home Tree be a refuge from your burdens.
I must seek those who can teach me the ways of the Navi.
I'm not even joking. I literally think it's gonna be like $80, $90.
World. I won't hurt you. No. You are starting to think like a Navi. Now,
It's cute.
we will teach you to ride like one.
I am not paying for this game though. I'll play it if it's free.
Pandora is under attack again.
Nobody does.
I will not allow the RDA to destroy this.
You
land.
sit there for 3 hours and just phase out of existence.
This is my home.
The Navi will fight on your side against the RDA.
I am Navi, and I will protect Pandora. Sivako!
We need him, Connor.
Wake that up,
We
okay.
need him stronger. Faster. Better equipped.
I don't think it's VR.
More vicious than ever. We need him.
Okay! I'm dead. I mean, I just wanted the Separate Ways DLC and we got it. So like I don't really know what's next. Are you gonna release a funky controller? Is that what this is an ad? Like, what are we doing? This is too much. What are you doing? Oh, different color PS5s. Oh, yeah. Who wants to buy me the blue one and I'll do a blue lip with the look? Deep Earth Collection. Oh, I don't think it's that serious. Oh, that's not. The only space game I want to see is Stellar Blade.
Hi, I'm Johan Pilestad, CEO and
Oh, not a whole presentation for this Walmart game.
I'm pleased to share an extended look at Helldivers 2.
It's not even Star Wars.
Preparing to select our mission.
Sheen Star Wars is happening on my screen
Once
right
cleared
now.
for mission engagement, it's time to go into your helipod and prepare for planetfall. Today we join
I'm at a
on
loss.
one of the many planets in the galaxy. Set
Nope.
an important mission to eliminate a deadly bile titan.
I'm not even gonna get hot and scream about it, but like, if you're obsessed with war so much, just go to war.
Okay, we need to find...
I'll say it till the day I die.
I think it's this way.
You do not need to clog the video game world with your war games. Just actually sign up and go to the army. Go to the barracks. Listen, I've been to the barracks. I fucked an army guy.
There's loads of them.
I've been there, done that. They have guns and they shoot stuff in the field. Just go to the barracks.
Oh, I died.
They have tanks in real life.
Reinforcing. Oof. I have to run.
It's voice acting.
Alright, I'm back. Can you guys take him out with the recoilless?
I'll try to take him down from the side. Reload my recoilless.
On it. I got enemies on my back as well. Oh, there's a charger here.
I'm gonna take out the Brood Commander.
He's charging me.
We take out the charger with the recoilless.
Alright.
Reload me.
Nice. I'm gonna thin out the crowd a little bit.
There are a lot of them coming. My guard dog is taking care of the little ones. Oh, oh!
I'm throwing out the strafing runs, try to take out the small guys.
Ah! Oh no, you killed me!
Oh. I'm sorry. One small death for the Helldivers.
You can't see it, but I'm eye rolling under these glasses.
Okay, should we do something? Should we strategize?
I'm drawing his attention.
There's a watch under my
We
glove.
have an option. We need to throw in the 500 kilogram bomb. Throwing it out.
Oh god, he's coming for me.
Getting out of the way.
There we
Okay,
go.
there we go.
Good job.
Nice.
Good job, guys.
Well done, Helldivers. Another win for Super Earth. After each successful mission, players are rewarded for their efforts, allowing them to upgrade their ship, weapons, armor, and stratagem.
I'm honestly so glad. That looks like a really good
I hope you
celebration.
enjoyed seeing a glimpse of just one of the many missions and planets the game has to offer.
You're showing me all these different scenes from the game, but they all look the same.
Democracy.
So there's not many missions. They're all different color skins of the same thing. No, you said thank you. We're gonna wrap it up now. Yeah, I don't need to see more. I can't wait for that game to come out so we can fucking stop seeing it at game shows. We see it everywhere. I'm so tired. Oh, they are gonna show Spider-Man. So what do we classify as indie and third party? And does anyone want to let me know?
This is Brian Intihar, Senior Creative Director at Insomniac Games. Thank you for all of your amazing feedback to our demo at the showcase earlier this year. Marvel's Spider-Man 2 is filled with an amazing story and story missions. But today I'm here to provide you with a first look at how the open world experience is evolving and how the game is built.
Wait, isn't this only on PS5? Oh.
The first thing you'll notice is that our city has nearly doubled in size with the addition of two iconic New York boroughs, Queens and Brooklyn.
Well.
And we've introduced the web wings, an entirely new mechanic that, when combined with web swinging, allows you to traverse the city in a whole new way and at faster speeds than ever before. Whether it's a neighborhood backdrop of Queens or the fireworks that light up the sky over Coney Island,
it's so
exploring
pretty.
these areas will feel much different than the towering skyscrapers of Manhattan, while also delivering memorable locales like Peter Parker's old stomping ground.
No, they have the twink Peter Parker.
Broken Visions Academy.
I like.
What's up?
No.
Spider-Man 2 will introduce the ability to switch between the two wall crawlers in the open world, and thanks to the power of the PlayStation 5, you can make that switch almost instantly. Delivering a bigger city and playing as not one but two spider heroes were big goals for Marvel's Spider-Man 2. But this time around, it was equally important to provide a greater sense of exploration and discovery. As you progress through the main story, a number of new activities and storylines will become available. The majority of those will now be represented by visual cues in the world that grab your attention, such as a flock of Kraven's Talon drones circling a building, a mysterious symbol projected into the sky, or even an unfamiliar spider-bot ping emitting from one of the rooftops. Many activities, like the hunter's cloaked blinds that overlook the Big Apple, lead to even greater challenges, yet yield worthy rewards and new information.
I'm yawning.
about Marvel's greatest
You're
hunter,
boring me.
Kraven.
Sorry about it.
Others will lead to a
It looks good,
dramatic
but
showdown
like,
of Marvel villains,
you're just
not yet seen in
saying
the Spider-Man
stuff we
universe.
already know.
The Spider Heroes have new AR tech in the lenses of their masks, providing a quick glimpse of activities already discovered.
I'm also yawning because like I'm not going to be able to play this game, so I don't really care. I don't have a PS5. I'm not like a bazillionaire like everybody on
and
Earth.
quickly track nearby areas of interest. The app will also include incoming requests from those who call Marvel's New York home. Some will ask for either Spider Hero.
Getting a PS5 as a drag person, drag queen, is just impractical. Mama, I have to spend like upwards to $500 like every other month on hair and makeup.
Stop from the game's various functions. Also now feed into the new District Progress system, which even provides more rewards and unlocks our brand new fast travel system. As you can see here, the
I'm gonna buy a PS5 and they're gonna be like, wait, there's a PS6 coming next week. That's my luck.
The more city you explore and the more activities you complete, the more ways you'll be able to customize your Spider Hero. This includes mastering additional combat abilities and traversal skills, acquiring and improving gadgets.
Thank you so
upgrading
much.
through the new suit tech
Yeah,
system,
I'll come over and bring my
unlocking additional
PC and desk setup.
And we're talking
It's an
lots and
easy.
lots of suits.
It's I can bring it
Marvel's
over pretty
Spider-Man 2
easy.
will feature over 65 suits from the comics, movies, and multiple original designs. And thanks
Is
to
Black
the
Cat in
suit
this game?
sets,
Because if she's not, I'm
there are
actually
more
not
than 200
interested.
different
Because
ways
she's
to
the
upgrade
only
your
redeemable
favorite
thing about
character.
these games. Sorry, that's
On behalf
shady.
of Insomniac
It looks
Games,
good.
we couldn't be more excited
That's me
about
being
what
nice for
City
camera,
has
because
to
I know they're gonna drag me in the
offer.
comment
Ways you'll
section.
experience it. We look forward to seeing you swinging around
It does
on
look good. I would play it, but mama, I don't have a PS5. I did love the first one, but I also loved the first one before they turned him into a twink. So, I don't like this new twinkified. I like the himbo guy that goes on TikTok live with Terry Joe. I don't know why they changed his face. So bizarre. So nasty and so rude. So true.
1 year has passed since the end of the great conflict.
The way I haven't even been able to like use that, it's like in a storage locker. What is this?
And so, our journey continues.
Oh, Tales of Arise.
There she is! Don't let her get away! After her!
What's happening?
It's all here.
Is this like a DLC?
The hell she did? She's a monster!
The truth is that
I've always wanted to play this, but I feel like I'm not gonna be good at it. So pretty.
all differences must be erased. Once there are no differences, there will
Who is this ma'am in the bob? Oh wow, that's exciting. Not this already outselling the Nintendo Direct. Ooh, oh Genshin.
What we call destiny is neither visible nor tangible. Yet, it is as certain as the collapsing and converging of the past and present. I called out to you and you came. The future is like a labyrinth. Every divergence is merely an inducement. There is only one real path.
Her voice got old real quick. I must say, you were right. It did get old. It's not. It doesn't.
You and I are each other's destiny.
Hey, Beth Vegas! Having a great time? I hope you're all ready.
Oh, is this that Suds game that we saw last year that's like Splatoon? Yes! I want to play.
The fantastic 4 versus 4 party.
Is it only on PS5? Please, not just PS5, please. Please.
Use foam and knock out the opposition. 2 insanely fun game modes. Smash the star.
Smash the who? The non-binary person in the room named Star. Why am I in it?
Dominate the arena in teams of 2 with support from your allies on the outside.
I think this is only for PS5 though.
8 unique characters.
Oh, they're so cute. I love them.
Agito. Tonics. Jet Justice.
I loved her cargo pants. Did you see those?
Melty.
Oh!
The Baristador.
Oh.
Raid Breaker.
Oh.
Penguin.
I don't like that name, but she's cute. Not Penguin.
We'll see you at the Foam Stars Open Beta Party.
It is only PS5. Damn it. I guess I have to get a PS5.
We've been having a blast with Foam Stars, and we can't wait for you to get your hands on it. The open beta kicks off later.
I'm sorry what I said earlier. Can you give me a PS5?
Phoenix has one
Wrap up!
Today. They're hard at work on Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, the ambitious follow-up to the critically acclaimed Final Fantasy VII.
Wrap up!
Let's see what's in store for one of next year's most anticipated games.
The world's ending.
Wrap up!
At least, that's what everyone's saying.
The sky. I don't like it.
Ready to fire, sir.
Welcome to the New World Order.
Ew, that looks like my ex-boyfriend. Fire! Get off my screen.
Just close your eyes and listen. Tell me you can't hear that. Her rallying cry.
Planet runs out of energy. It and everything on it dies.
We can overcome our fate.
It's not even funny anymore. Yeah, actually though.
These monsters. Am I even human?
Okay, we're looking for Sephiroth. Think you can find him?
Oh, Sephiroth. You see. So you heeded the call too.
You can play as the kitty cat.
As you can see,
I'm gonna crash that car.
are having a little get together.
What the?
They're our best chance.
The alternate outfit for Cloud. Did you see that?
I ask because I suspect there's soldiers suffering from cellular degradation.
Do not be deceived. You know the truth. Trust in me.
Sephiroth!
Come on.
Aerith Queen. That's my mother. Oh, that was. Did you? That was. I love the gays. I love my gays. Oh, hey, a summon we barely saw anything of in the new game. Oh, the girlies! What the? Oh, he's back! Oh, she said, let me get a peek. Oh. Oh, mini games. Oh!
Excuse me. Could you look after my friend? Just for a bit.
Yeah, I fear there's no way this isn't gonna get Game of the Year.
A weapon?
Tutelary creatures, set only to appear when the planet is in grave danger.
What is that?
Who dares disturb my slumber? It's upon us.
Wait, this looks like it's almost done. Can you guys release it early? This looks like it's done. Guys, I want to play it now. Can you guys hot drop it? Wait, guys, hot drop it. Oh, I was kidding. I thought it was winter next year.
We hope you enjoyed that new look at Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. It's coming to PlayStation 5 on February 29th. And that's
Only?
play. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Oh, I have to get a PS5. It's unserious now. Wait, you just ended the show? Is Stellar Blade, like, canceled? Daphne, thank you so much for the subscription, my love. How long was that? I don't need your B-roll. Oh. Oh, it does come out on a leap year. Wait, that's actually kind of fierce. They said, we're going to give you a leap year release. That's fierce. I might just wait till... Well, I am moving in with Shoddy, so maybe we can go half season on a PS5. I really want to play the Foam Stars beta, but it's at the end of the month. Am I really going to be able to get that by the end of the month? I'll send some emails. Can you get a PS5 like accessibly now? Like if I walk up to a store, hey guys, I want to buy a PS5. Is that like a thing now? No, literally. Should we do like a throne wish list thing? Because I know you can like fund for one. That was it? Like actually? I do want to do a subathon. Like if I walked up to, oh, well, like I know it's gonna be like 500 or 600, but if I walk up to a GameStop or a Walmart or something. Oh, don't say Stellar right now. We're mourning Stellar Blade. She's canceled, I fear. Yeah, Final Fantasy VII is gonna be cute. Like really cute. Okay. Well, I'm gonna say my synopsis of today. The shows weren't great, but they were both mid. They both had highs, they both had lows. This had highs, this had lows. Had more expectations, didn't really meet them. But we are getting some good games for next year. Like we are getting Princess Peach. We're getting a good release from February to March. We're getting Princess Peach. We're getting Final Fantasy. We're getting I don't really know, so but yeah. They're having a mid off. They actually are. Oh, I did not mean to go to this screen. Well, I kind of did, I guess. Oh shit, don't say that. The Xbox shows are good though. I'm gonna boot up Mortal Kombat. So if you don't, I'm not gonna play the story, so no one has to worry about story spoilers. Not a new Smash. Me waiting for that in 2037.